On this one, we're working with cash receipts. So we are going to be posting to the accounts receivable ledger. And to begin with, it wants us to open a new page or start a new page in our accounts receivable ledger. So we're going to change to the second page. Here's our accounts receivable ledger. And we are creating a new page for Brandy Sparks. So we come to the customer line here and put in Brandy Sparks. And her customer number or account number is 140. And we're given a balance for her. So we'll put in October 1st of the current year. And then we put in the word balance. We put a check mark in the post reference to indicate that we are not going to have a post link for this. We're just extending a balance. And her account balance is $212. And notice this is a debit balance column because the normal balance of accounts receivable is a debit. Okay, that completes step 1. Step 2 asks us to post the accounts receivable debit entry on line 5 of the sales journal. So we're going to switch back here to our sales journal. Here's line 5, and this is a sale to Brandy Sparks. And all we're worried about posting is this accounts receivable debit amount. So we are going to switch back to our accounts receivable ledger. Here's Brandy Sparks, and the date of this transaction is the 20th. So we put in a 20. And then our post reference is S for sales journal, and then the page number, which if we look at that is page 10. And we have an accounts receivable debit of $576.64. We have a debit and a debit, so we're going to grab our calculator and add those two numbers together. And write our new balance of $788.64. Then we take our customer number 140 and we go back to our sales journal and put that in the post reference column. And that completes step 2. Step 3 wants us to post the accounts receivable entry on line 9 of the cash receipts journal to the accounts receivable ledger. So we have accounts receivable credit of $254 from Alfredo Lopez. So we'll switch to our accounts receivable ledger. Here is Alfredo Lopez. The date of this is the 21st. And this is cash receipts, so we put CR and page 12. So we have a CR 12. And this is a credit of $254.40. We currently have a debit balance, so we are going to subtract those numbers. We do $1526.40 minus $254.40, and we end up with $1,272. Then we take this number, customer number 130, go back to our cash receipts journal, and in our post reference, we put in the 130. Our next step is to post the credit entry on line 3 of the general journal. Now for this one, we're going to refer back to the general journal from 11-1, work together. And if you see on line 3, so we're on 11-1, work together. Line 3, we have accounts receivable David Bishop, and it is a credit of $55.12. Now we have a slash here, so we're going to add a slash there to remind us that it is posted in 2 locations. And then we're going to go to our accounts receivable ledger and find David Bishop. The date of this transaction is October 12th. And this is the General Journal, page 11. And a credit of $55.12. We currently have a debit balance, so we are going to grab our calculator and subtract those values. Which gives us 183. Whoops, let me move that over in the right spot. It gives us 183.38. Then we take that customer number 110. Go back to our general journal and we place that on the bottom line of that split post reference. And that takes care of step 4. Step 5 is to prepare a schedule of accounts receivable. And we have room for that at the bottom of this page. And this is just the same as the schedule of accounts payable, but the title is different. So our company is Graphics Inc. This is a schedule of accounts receivable. And this is for the date of October 31st, current year. Then we go through and we list every account that has a balance. So our first one is David Bishop. And he has a balance of $183.38. Then we have Maria Farrell. $286.20. Alfredo Lopez. A balance of $1,272. And Brandy Sparks, a balance of $788.64. Then we put the line total accounts receivable, single rule. Grab your calculator and total those that column. And it's a good idea to run the numbers again to make sure you did not make a mistake. And if we get the same number again, then we can come here and double rule. And that completes 11-2, work together.